It's easy to think life is headed in the right direction when you've got everything lined up. At 28, I had a steady job, a cozy apartment, and a girlfriend, Rachel, who I thought was the one. We'd been together for nearly 3 years, and I believed we were building a future. Sure, there were the occasional bumps. What relationship is without its flaws? But I was all in. I trusted her, or at least I thought I did. But there were moments when something didn't feel quite right. You know that gut feeling? The one that nags at you without reason, leaving you with an uneasy sense that something is off, even if you have no proof. That was me for months. Rachel's behavior had started changing subtly. She became protective of her phone, constantly clutching it like it held her deepest secrets. When she texted, she would angle the screen away from me, almost as if she was hiding something. Then there were the sudden work trips or girl weekends she started taking. At first, I didn't question it too much. Maybe she just needed a break, right? But when I asked for more details, she grew defensive. It's just work or just a girl's weekend, she'd say, brushing off my concerns. I tried to convince myself I was overthinking things. I didn't want to be one of those paranoid boyfriends, checking up on everything. But that gut feeling lingered, refusing to be ignored. One evening, I had an idea. If there was something going on, it would show up in our joint account. Rachel and I had opened the account together when we started saving for a house, a big step in what I thought was a solid future. It was a shared fund, and we both contributed to it, so I felt it was fair to keep track of it. One day, out of nowhere, I noticed a $3,000 withdrawal. No warning, no explanation. Just gone. I tried to stay calm. Maybe it was a mistake, or perhaps Rachel had a reason. I casually brought it up to her. Hey, what's with this $3,000 withdrawal? Did you buy something big? I asked, try to sound casual. She didn't even look up from her phone. Oh yeah, I booked a girl's trip to Maui, she said, barely sparing me a glance. A girl's trip? I echoed. You didn't mention that. She rolled her eyes and let out an exasperated sigh. I didn't think I needed to give you a play-by-play of my plans. That hit me like a slap to the face. $3,000 was a lot of money. We were saving for a house, for a future, and this felt like a betrayal. See, we're saving for a house, remember? I said, trying to keep my voice steady. Rachel glanced at me briefly, almost dismissive. We'll make it back. Relax, it's not the end of the world. I wanted to be angry. I should have been angry, but I told myself not to overreact. Maybe she needed a break. Maybe I was just being sensitive. But that night, I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. I couldn't sleep, and in my restless state, I did something I never thought I'd do. I went through her phone. It was a moment I would regret, but also one I couldn't ignore. As I scrolled through the messages, my heart sank. There was an entire thread of texts, emails, and flight confirmations. She wasn't going on a girl's trip at all. She was planning a vacation with her ex. My stomach dropped. This wasn't a simple mistake. This was a betrayal. They had been planning it for weeks, behind my back, and I had no idea. It wasn't even about the money anymore. It was the trust, the lies, the complete disregard for everything we had. I didn't confront her right away. Part of me wanted her to feel the same panic I was feeling. I wanted her to know I knew. So I waited. I pretended everything was fine. The next morning, I kissed her goodbye, telling her to enjoy her trip. As soon as she left for the airport, I froze our joint account. I wasn't thinking clearly. I was hurt, and in that moment, I wanted her to feel the weight of her actions. Hours later, my phone rang. It was Rachel. "What the hell did you do?" she screamed. I leaned back in my chair, trying to hide the satisfaction in my voice. "What do you mean?" I said innocently. "My card getting declined everywhere. What did you do to the account?" "I froze it," I replied, keeping my tone calm. "Figured it was the least I could do after finding out you're on vacation with your ex." There was silence on the other end of the line before she stammered. "It's not what you think." I wasn't interested in her excuses. I read everything. The emails, the texts. "You lied to me. You've been planning this for weeks." She stammered again, trying to come up with an explanation. "I didn't care anymore. If you wanted to be with him, why didn't you just leave me?" She sighed, trying to explain. "I didn't want to hurt you." I let out a bitter laugh. "So, Instead, you lied to me, stole our money, and went on vacation with your ex. That was your way of not hurting me. There was a pause before her tone shifted. She was no longer apologizing. Now, she was defensive. Maybe if you weren't so obsessed with saving for that damn house, I wouldn't have had to do this. I was stunned. She was flipping the script, turning it into my fault. You're trying to blame me. For this? You couldn't just talk to me? Rachel sighed again, frustrated. You don't get it. I needed space. I needed time to think. With him? With your ex? I shot back, my jaw clenched. Just a friend, right? That's why you hit it? She didn't answer, and for a moment the silence was deafening. But I was done. We're over, I said, my voice firm. What? You're breaking up with me over this? She asked, her voice tinged with panic. I didn't care. You lied. You used our money to go on a trip with your ex. What did you expect? You can't just leave me stranded here, she yelled. I felt nothing. No sympathy. No guilt. Just cold, hard clarity. Not my problem, I said. You made your choice. And I hung up before she could say anything else. The next few days were a blur. I moved out of the apartment, got my name off the lease, and canceled the bills I had tied to it. I blocked her on everything. Phone, social media, email. No more access to my life. It was over. Weeks passed, and I started hearing the stories she was telling people. Rachel was painting herself as the victim, telling anyone who would listen that I had abandoned her without a penny to my name. When I first heard this from a mutual friend, I laughed. It was classic Rachel, always twisting things to make herself look innocent. But I wasn't going to let her rewrite history. So, I told my side of the story, the lies, the ex, the money. Some people were shocked, others not so much. They knew Rachel. They knew what she was capable of. Most people sided with me, but a few still believed her. Whatever. Let them. I wasn't wasting any more time on her drama. In the end, it didn't hurt as much as I thought it would. The pain wasn't from losing her. It was from realizing that the person I thought I knew didn't exist at all. She had been wearing a mask the whole time, and I was too blinded by love to see it. Here's what I learned from this mess. People will eventually show you who they are. You just have to pay attention. You can either ignore it and hope they'll change, or you could do what I did, walk away. As for Rachel, the last I heard, she was crashing on a friend's couch, unable to afford rent. She tried to get her money back from the trip, but the flights and hotel were non-refundable. I couldn't help but wonder if her ex had stuck around or if he left her high and dry, just like she deserved. But honestly, I didn't care anymore. What I realized is that you can't control what others do. All you can control is how you respond. And when someone lies, cheats, or manipulates you, you have to be willing to walk away, no matter how much it hurts. Staying only destroys you in the long run. Sure, I'm mad that I lost years of my life to her, but I'm even angrier at myself for ignoring the signs. The truth was right there in front of me all along. I just didn't want to see it. The only way forward was to cut her out completely.